So you've finished your disc, you've made all your pads, added the cone-headed screws on the back. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can make these blades, which will fit on the tabletop like that. If you haven't made both the table and the pads, the instructions to make these probably won't make a lot of sense. I'm going to show you two different ways to make these, but first we need to talk about materials. I bought these 1x2 strips at the store and I cut them into 16-inch lengths. You're only going to need two, but again, like I said, I'm going to show you two different methods. To add a lip on the top of each one of these, we're going to go with something called plumbing strap. Now there's two different types of plumbing strap. This is steel and this is plastic. We could use steel, but the problem is that it leaves black marks whenever the glue touches it on your project, and you don't want that. So we'll go with plastic, which happens to be cheaper anyway. The only downfall to plastic is that it's a little tiny bit thicker, but if you really wanted to, you could even sand it a little bit to give it a little bit more of a finer edge. In both methods, we're going to cut the strap to length. It is much easier to cut this stuff with just a knife. So I'll go ahead and cut that, and that's one. I'll go ahead and cut the other three. We'll add a 1/4-inch T-nut to the center of each one of our blocks. You don't have to be exact, but just go 8 inches in. Now I'll go ahead and mark the center approximately on each one. Each barrel of a T-nut is 5/16, and we'll drill into the wood just enough that we can get the T-nut barrel into it. It doesn't really need to be much longer, as each one of these bolts isn't really that long. If I put this in here, it looks like it might touch a little bit, so we'll go a little bit deeper. Now with these drilled out, I'm going to take a T-nut and mark where the points are on it. You might be able to hammer this in, but I don't want to take a chance. Now we'll come back with a 1/16-inch drill bit and we'll drill each one of those holes out. Now I'll add a little bit of 2-part epoxy to the barrels and underneath the cap, as well as the tines. Once we've done that, we'll just go ahead and put it in the top. Now we'll give that a chance to cure and come back, about 30 minutes to an hour. With this method, I'm going to take the T-nut, going to put it away from me right now. I'll draw a line across here at about 1/8 of an inch, maybe 3/16 of an inch. You can do the same thing with a ruler. I'll take my strap and I'm going to put it over the line. I'll add some number 6 by 1/2 inch Phillips screw here. I'll come across, I'm just going to do the same thing all the way down. And you don't have to hit each hole, but a few holes are good to hit. And that's the first method. I don't like it as there's a chance that you can crack the surface here. It kind of has a little bit of play, but this will work if you don't have a table saw. With this method, I switched to a 1/16-inch blade. This is a 7.5-inch circular saw blade. I've raised it 3/8 of an inch, and I'm about 3/8 in, maybe a little bit less. So I'm in the center of this 1x2, and I'm just going to cut all the way through. Now with this cut, it's very easy to slide my plastic piece in. I'm going to add a little bit of epoxy through here. I'll just add some tape to pull that down. And I'm not entirely sure if this epoxy will work very well with the plastic. If it doesn't, I'll just come through the side and drill a small hole and maybe add some brad nails. We'll let that dry and come back. Now you might be asking, when would I ever need these? These are really nice when you have things that are really thin that you want to paint or you want to stain, finish. You can easily lay these across the top as well as round shapes. Whereas these are good for larger objects that you can place on top of. Thin shapes and round shapes are really what these things are about. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if this is something that you might make.